Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. We have a super amazing topic today, the difference between men and women before getting into a relationship, how we think, how we act. We're gonna uncover some of the dirty little secrets that men have in the back of their heads.
And women
And
too.
women too sometimes, yeah. So today we have a guest just to make things even. On this corner we have Bruno. On the other corner we have Kara. On this corner we have Irina. On the other corner we have John. Let's get ready to rumble.
Woo! Let's
So,
go.
if you're watching this live, please feel free to ask any questions. All four of us will be trying to reply to any of your comments as quickly as we can. So, if you want to uncover anything that has happened with your partner, best friend, close, beautiful neighbor, whichever way you want to go, that still works. Just write it down. We'll try to help you out, but we have several topics to talk about. So, welcome everyone. So, Kara, let's get started because I know you have many wise things to share.
So many things. So as we I'm the first thing I wanted that came up while we were pre-talking. I know all y'all watching now missed all of it, but it was good though. Um one of the things that came up is anatomy of apology. So I want to share what the anatomy of an apology is, and then we can launch from there. So I have a toddler, right? And I'm sorry is what you teach a toddler so that they can start to recognize when they have wronged someone. But I'm sorry is what you say, what a toddler says the first, third, and 12th time that they kick you. It's not the actual apology, it's just the thing that helps them gain that awareness, right? So the anatomy of apology and both sexes tend to get this twisted, I think would be a great way to say that. So it requires taking responsibility for what happened. I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. And then acknowledging the impact, right? So I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings by doing such and such, right? So I'm going to acknowledge what happened and specifically how. And then here's the part, and that I find is pretty easy for everybody. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings by throwing you under the bus in front of our friends. My bad. But it usually stops there. And if you really want to complete an apology, you say, next time I won't do that. You have to take into account what you're going to do to ensure that doesn't happen again. And I think a lot of the time in the male female dichotomy, it has less to do with how we're different as how we are programmed to finish things. So we're all trained to say, I'm sorry, but not all of us are trained to follow the whole path. What do you guys think?
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful, Kara, because as you were mentioning your toddler, I related to my son who is 9 years old now. He is like such a sweetheart, but he always screws up, right? And each time he tells me, I'm sorry. But I keep telling him, why do I need your sorry? Because you still keep doing what you were doing. And now I know how to end this, like saying, now you have to finish by saying it would never happen again.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like the automatic response, you know. It's kind of the automatic, like, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna do it again.
And the
Like,
move, yeah,
it's just
yeah. Like I know that that's not, but I'm sorry, as if that were the thing that fixed it.
And as people, that gives us accountability because I am a firm believer that the younger you start with being accountable for your actions, the better you will become as an adult in not only your personal but business life and also on relationships. Why do I say on relationships? Because when you actually happen to meet with somebody, you're not supposed, it's not your job to make the other person happy. It's not your job to take them to this magical ride of life. It's not your job. But what it is your job is that they have entrusted you with their heart and feelings, and it's your job to safeguard that because that is sacred. So, yes, what you just taught us gives us accountability and help us become better people at one point. Mhm.
Follow
Yes.
through. That's a big thing.
Yes.
That is totally true. Like, for example, I think that I learned, obviously I'm younger and stuff, but one thing I totally learned was that It's just like the more responsibility you put on your shoulders, the more adult you become, kind of like owning that. For me, like I'm very like the world for me is very black and white, so like I kind of like it's either this or that. Didina knows that very well. And she kind of like
And I'm the
she kind of
opposite. I'm all the colors.
Welcome to the rainbow, bitches.
Experiment with all the colors. Life should be not boring just with white and black. It
yeah.
has to be colorful.
Yeah, like for me, like the world is very like black and white, and like that was because of the amount of like kind of responsibility that I kind of like owned since like kind of like because like we were talking before, like for example for me, right, like growing up like with a single mother, you kind of have to like turn up much younger, even if you don't do a lot of things. Like there's a lot of things you need to do that your father could do for you, right? Even just putting the trash downstairs, like that's something that's just some like that's just that kind of doesn't teach you a lot. It just makes you move. It makes you kind of like in the future it's more automatic, the fact that like you're taking care of a house, like the fact that like you're kind of moving more when you're young. Your subconscious and your conscious like register that so easily. Like the first thing that comes up to your mind is, I need to
Mhm.
make my bed and this and this and this. You don't even, you know all of that stuff. And I think for me it's just one of those things where like owning radical responsibility. Everything is my fault. I don't care. Everything is my fault. All right, that person screwed me up. All right, I gave her the chance to screw me up. Nobody told me to talk to her. So yeah, that's just one of those things. Yeah.
Yes, and I am a firm. Go ahead, Kara.
So I just I'm a little weird with language. It's my thing. But an interesting twist on that radical responsibility, um top level. This is like deep stuff. Like I'm going deep. Okay, are we all ready for this? Okay.
Yeah,
Eat my
So
soul.
I got
right, radical
Eat
responsibility
my
really
soul,
means
Kara.
letting go of fault, because it doesn't matter whose fault it is, but you get to be responsible and accountable for what you're going to do about it. It means it doesn't matter whether it was your fault or somebody else's fault. Does not matter at all in radical responsibility, because life happens. But that's life's favorite thing to do, is to life all over your plans. It's like, oh, that's what you want to do? Cool. Try it
and
now.
that's also what we say in metaphysics. Nothing is neither good or bad.
Yep.
And that's, I think, how we should take it in life, because a lot of people come up to me. My work can be just exploding in front of my face, and people are like, John, how the heck, like do you have blood going through your veins? And I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's bubbling. Don't worry about
so
it.
be it. It is unraveling me inside, but on the outside it's okay. Is gonna pass. And like I always say,
That
whenever I'm
moment.
having a bad season, because we all go through our ups and downs in life. I'm like, the great thing about this, that I'm going down, is that at one point or another I'm gonna touch the bottom, and there's nothing but a way up. So, and that's the beauty about life. But bringing it back, or reeling it back into what we started, the difference between men and women, because we started with a great start, which is we have to learn how to apologize, because that is our neutral middle ground between both parties. Yeah, okay, so once we apologize, we have to mean it. But let's get into the nitty and gritty. So let's start with our favorite topic: why men do what they do. And when I'm saying that, I'm talking about why, when your man is with you on the street or at the beach or at the mall, somehow, somewhere, a lady passes by and they go and do this.
Not
It's like,
any lady, Johnny.
what?
Somebody
No,
that they are
have the
drawn
truth though.
to. Not any lady.
Of course,
Otherwise,
not any lady.
like,
I'm just saying.
let's be more specific.
Okay, not any lady. Somebody that they feel attracted or find them beautiful. Okay, why do we do that? Sure, go ahead, Kara.
Okay, so I can't speak to men so in general, I'll speak in general, not specific, but generally, my husband describes this, right? So when men move through the world, they have a giant projector in their brain, right? Like one big channel that is feeding them through. So they see something and the channel shifts. and then they see something else and the channel shifts. So they're just singular. Thank God for that, because the focus that men can bring to a situation is incredible. Women, however, have been preconditioned to have 1,400 screens going, and they're flipping through extra channels while they're doing it, right? Like, so they're aware. So they still see that cute piece of meat that walk by, but they don't turn towards it. It's just one of the things that they are also.
They register. They
It's
just
in the
take a
peripheral
snapshot.
vision.
It's just a part of the
Move
mess.
forward.
That's why I'm more afraid of a woman sniper than a man sniper.
Yeah, right. Because she's already
She
paying
more
attention
than
to
one bullet
men.
in a few seconds.
I think like men's level of focus just suits men so well. Not because like that's what we're used to kind of see, but in terms of like the role of men in society, like men need that focus. Like we need that focus. Women maybe not so much. Maybe more and more and more because of how like kind of feminism is kind of like kind of like starting to go up more and more and more. But like I mean, it can be extreme, it can be toxic, but obviously that's another conversation. But coming back to kind of like what we were talking about, um, yeah, I mean, obviously like the level that men, the level of focus that men have, because like for example, a lot of men like we kind of like we live more in our mind than we kind of live in reality. And I think women as well a lot, because the more emotional you are, the more you kind of you're going to think. Because first you feel, then you think, then you say it. And usually when you say it, you can't hold it anymore. And it comes out in anger or anxiety or everything. But because you let the energy inside of you that was pure become like you demonized your own energy. And like you need to let it out, you need to say it, like don't let it in like somebody's gonna kill you or something, because it's fine, it's all right.
Yeah.
um yeah.
Go ahead.
No, John, no, please, you say.
No, what I was gonna say is that here is the thing. We all know that genetically, we start bringing traits from our ancestors, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to demystify and have women cut us a little bit of slack when we do that. Not because it's right to hurt the other person, but and I know Kara is gonna go in a second into, but we're not there anymore. but but just humor me on this one. Okay, so we're all in our caves. We're all cavemen and cavewomen. There's no language yet developed. Okay, so we as men are looking not for the most beautiful woman, because more than likely at that point, without racers, I don't know where life would have been. But
Be a hairy situation.
you see, one of those. But in reality, men were looking for ladies with the biggest boobs because they could feed their child. Women with the widest hips because they will have better or easier childbirth. So, and that is instilled in us. That is DNA information that has been passed through. So, of course, when we look, it doesn't mean that we're lusting for the girl. Just like she's cute, whatever, caught our attention, but we're back to channel one.
Right.
We go from ESPN to CNN and back to and back to CNN.
Channel.
You're gonna think about that now when you're looking at everybody else. How many channels are they looking at? Which channel are they on?
Ooh, that one has the sports package.
Oh, yeah.
But hear me out. So that's why men do what they do. They don't do it because we want to hurt you. Yes, there are a few men that just do it because they feel that they're the hottest thing on earth after Coca-Cola, although they're dumping the stock for another reason. But the thing is that that's what happens. We don't do it with means to hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, we have women that, again, we're on cavemen, cavewomen. Cavewomen, they were not looking for the smartest or fastest gatherer. They were looking for the best hunter. And again, Can you imagine us if nowadays with 2000 years of evolution and even more years of evolution we look like this? Can you imagine us back then? So yeah, that's reality. That's why women nowadays are not looking for the sometimes for the cutest guy. They're looking for the one that can give them stability, not only emotional but mainly financially. So things from the cave ages till now have not changed much.
Yeah. Like for example, sorry, Kara, it'll be quick. I have this opinion, and obviously we have two women here that can totally like kind of either like destroy me on this opinion or kind of agree. They're just waiting like, bro, you have no idea what's coming for you if you get this wrong.
Yeah.
We have two coaches. They're taking mental notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna mimic all my girlfriend's face. Oh yeah, keep talking.
That's gonna be
No,
my next meme. I'm gonna take a picture of you.
Okay, Bruno, go. Sorry. We
No,
digress.
it's all right.
Go,
It's
go,
okay.
go.
It's okay. It's okay. No, because like for example, women say a lot. Oh, like we like nice guys and we want them to be nice and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like, I don't think that's what like women kind of truly want. Yeah, of course. I mean, they don't want like a rude guy with no manner, blah blah. No, I'm not talking that. I'm saying yes, nice. I wouldn't say nice guy. I think good guy because nice guys are people pleasers. Good guys have boundaries and they respect themselves. And like also like that's the thing. Like you also want a guy who you trust enough to follow, which basically means you trust him, means you feel safe around him, and so you need to respect him kind of, right? Like obviously like it's not just like being good or nice. It's like it can be a good guy, but if you don't respect him, then like you'll never believe. I think you never believe in the guy as much. Or I think like as well, like I believe that you won't take him as seriously, right? Like as like he says he's gonna do something to a woman, and the woman goes like, nah, he's not gonna fucking do shit. What the fuck? Like it's just one of those things where like like that's the thing, like it's like because women like simple. I love transparent women. Like me and Rina, like we're very different, but at the same time, like we're very similar in a lot of things. And it's those things that like I don't know. There's just like that's what like kind of keeps like the friendship. Like because like it doesn't matter what we say to each other, we will never fucking be upset with each other. At the same time, like she annoys the shit out of me. I know, like I'm like I'm not gonna lie, like she annoys the fuck out of me, like she does, and she knows that, and she does it on purpose as well. Like she fucking annoys the shit out of me.
Irina.
Well,
Yeah,
my
I mean,
money's on Arena. I bet she fights dirty
she
too. I like
doesn't even
that.
deny it. Doesn't even deny it. Doesn't even deny it. So you see,
Yep.
but with,
I
with like
don't. I'm
obviously,
just silent. I'm just listening,
yeah,
waiting
yeah,
for my turn.
yeah. But like jokes aside and all of that stuff, it's just one of those things where like we're always super transparent with each other, super transparent, like super transparent, like so many times, like right, she doesn't ask that question anymore because she knows like there's no need for that because obviously I'm going to say yes, but it's like can I be real with you? Like yeah, obviously we can be real with me. Like what the fuck, like what are you waiting for? Like that's all I'm asking is like reality, like real. And like I think like a lot of men also would love that, you know because like for example, like coming back to what was said of like how men work and how women work in relationships and all that stuff, right? It's like sometimes men would love for women to be a little bit more open, but women as well, right? Because one thing that I do totally believe, and I'm kind of starting to understand that a lot, and even if it's not just about this is at least one of the reasons. The reason why women try to make kind of like men guess is because women feel like men do the same thing.
Well, I think that happens in both sexes, just like you're mentioning.
Yeah, it happens in both sexes. The things
That's
that
why
men
we're
just don't.
debunking those things today.
Yeah, men just kind of don't like see that, and like it's just one of those things. They don't open up about that as well. It's like you don't have to hide everything for yourself because if you're hiding everything for yourself, then what's the point of being in a relationship?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's just like. And
Can I
another
just
thing that
add?
Oh, go. Sorry.
Can I
Go.
just add something because
Yep.
something came up to me and I was listening to one of the podcasts, and that's exactly what it is. The whole thing is the secret sauce in great relationship is to be authentic self. Because when, especially when people just start dating, like initially everybody wants to look to be liked by others, and they are like consciously like thinking, oh my gosh, what am I gonna say, how am I gonna act, right? But the point is, and then it comes to the fact, then the girl sometimes doesn't express what she doesn't like about the guy because she's so scared to lose him, and then it leads to more problem because if they get more serious, the guy is thinking it's okay because this is the way she accepted me, the way I treated her. Like maybe he didn't like call her all the time, he didn't like get involved into like her daily life, like be more like caring. And she was thinking, okay, I'm not gonna point it out, although it bothers me because I don't want to lose him, I don't want him to think that I'm desperate or I'm just clingy, right? And then it leads to more problems because later on when she they get more serious and she expects from him, and she gets really pissed because he doesn't deliver the expectation, and he kind of lost, he is like
Mhm.
clueless, like wait a second, initially it didn't bother her, like what have it changed that all of a sudden she's acting up. So I think the most important thing is to be authentic self from the day one, just like be direct and just say what you like and what you do not like. Obviously there is a way to say it, you don't
Yeah.
have to be rude, you have to be like the same words with the tone that you choose to say them, and be like mindful not to hurt person, but rather like express your boundaries
Mhm.
and say what you would like and what you would not tolerate, to make it clear from the beginning. And I think any man would respect it.
We'll appreciate it so much.
Unless like they're not looking for serious relationship, but then in the first place, why do you need them?
Yes, that is true, and that's one thing that although they're not here, I think is worth mentioning. Jesse and Melissa, that's one thing that I love about them too. You can tell from the get go. I know Bruno, you may have not met them yet, but they're part of
Go
our
watch the
team.
podcast. They're brilliant. Yes.
Yes, there you can see the connection between them, and they would actually be frank and honest right away. They don't let it slide. They don't let it build up, and I love that about them.
So things that I've heard so far is that we've got to assume positive intent from each other, right? Like assume that the other person wants to do the right thing, and if they're not, you're gonna have to say something to find out why.
Call them out.
The second thing I heard is a lot of reaction stuff, right? Like, so our cave person selves are still there. Those reactions are still part of that spinal stem, like the reptilian brain that's like, this is the first thing we do. But what I know in psychology is that the first response is a programmed or a trained or a conditioned response. The second response is you,
Yep.
right? So I'm going to pass it back to Irina because she's our manifestation lady. So when you want to stop responding in that cave brain or that way that is no longer serving and start being the most authentic you, what would you say on that? How do you as a man or woman make that move?
Well, I think thanks so much, Kara, for having this question. It's a brilliant question. I think it's all about, like what really makes us different from that way of, it's our mindset and our thinking, right? So everything comes again to starts from our, like brain, right? We consciously, we learn, we train our brain, be conscious when we are dealing in different situations. And how do we know what to say? It's all comes with the experience, right? You go like on a date, you screwed it up, then you come home and you like basically tear it apart, like by pieces, and analyzing it, like what really went wrong, what did he say, what did I say, blah blah blah, right? And then you reflect on it. So people like totally forget that relationship is as serious as having a job. Why do they think that they have to like constantly improve their skills at workplace? but they don't give a fly. Let's say they already have an in the marriage, right? They think that it's like basically everything has to work on autopilot. But let me bear the truth. Being married for over 20 years, it requires even freaking more work than when you were dating.
Yep.
To keep up that flame, to make sure, like you're on the same page, it requires a lot of work. So many people look at the relationship as fun, as just something to keep them, like
Rather
in
than
the game, right? But
Mhm.
the truth is, there is a lot of work involved. When
Yes.
we consciously understand it, and when we always after each, like, because it's impossible to have everything, like nice and dandy. Sometimes you look at these couples and you think, oh my gosh, they're such lovebirds.
so easy.
Do that. You know what? They could be lovebirds at that particular moment. When they come home, they are ready to eat each other, meaning like literally, like, arguing and
Not in a cute
killing
way.
each other. So, to be fair and to be honest, there is no such a thing as perfect couple. No, right? So basically,
No, it is true.
always something about improvement, about recognizing who did what, and rather than blaming each other, just kind of sit with each other and figuring out what can we do together. It's not one person or another. What can we do together to make it work, to make it better?
Hmm.
So it all comes back to, from cave, society to our society. We have that capability of being more aware and conscious of our thoughts and our actions. And it's always a learning process. If it didn't work this way, let me change it and make it work this way.
Hmm.
I I have to. I'm sending it over to the boys because so Irina was saying, all when after a date, you just go home and pick apart what went well, what didn't go well, and I saw both of you nodding, and legitimately, that was brain changing for me because I know every woman I know absolutely picks apart down to like what were they wearing, where did they glance when they said things like, "Oh, we overanalyze," like.
Yeah.
But I saw you guys nodding, so hold on. Do boys review the dates afterwards as well?
I do.
Say more things. I want to know more.
I
Okay.
do.
Let's go in parts. Let's start with Bruno, and I'll tell you exactly what I look for because I've gotten friends of mine tell me because we as men, just like women talk, we also talk. And some
Mhm.
men's like my friends and I, although this sounds a little too much, we have an Excel spreadsheet, and we'll talk that in a second. Back to Bruno.
Boys and their data. I'm in. Okay, keep going. Yes,
Yes.
listening.
So, like for example, I have to be honest. I don't go that far as an Excel sheet. I don't go that far. I'm very simple. I just have a piece of
I'll
paper.
send you a copy.
Yeah,
No,
right?
I just
Improve
have,
your skills.
I just really have a piece of paper, and like I kind of like I think to myself, well, she's like this because she's like this, she's like this, and I have a very good memory. Like I kind of memorize things. Like my short memory is better than my long term memory. I would say so. Kind of more depends on the situations. I kind of want to use it, you know. So like in terms of short memory, like yeah, I mean I just kind of like I analyze, okay, so she behaves this way, she's like this, she's like that, you know. Okay, like maybe like she was a little bit like this, but that's normal. It's first time, you know. I mean, we're just getting to know each other. I mean, I don't expect someone to kind of trust me, you know, like on the first time. It's all right. Like I don't even kind of like look at those things. I just look more at the way the person behaves, you know, like on the way like I don't know, like I look at the way the person behaves. I don't look at like what the person wears or anything. I mean, for me, people can wear whatever they want. I mean, if they wanna shove something up their ass, shove it up your ass. I don't care. Like that doesn't kind of like that doesn't tell me what you are. It just tells me what you like to do. You know, like I don't like to do those things, but if you like them, that's up to you. I mean, whatever. You know, but like it's just one of those things where it's for like for me, it's all about personality, right? For me, like on the first date, it's personality. Like if I know that she's on her phone constantly, there's not going to be a second date. Forget about that. Because like, I mean, you have so much time to be on your phone. and you're gonna be on your phone when you talk to me. Straight up, like straight up. Like for example, the same thing with people that go to the gym. Like for example, when I go to the gym, right? I'm like, you have all day long to be on your phone. Even if you leave the gym and then you go to your work. After you go from your work, you're at home. You're at home. You can be on your goddamn phone. Can't you just leave your phone for one goddamn minute? Like, why you always have to be on TikTok, like mindlessly scrolling, like and like watching people achieve their dreams, and like feeling sorry for yourself more and more and more and more, like because the more you watch it, the more you think you can get it. Like, why don't you go and you do it yourself, like and at the same time like at the gym you're there to focus on yourself and coming back to kind of like the dating, right? You're in a date to know the other person, not to be on the phone, right? The time where we were at the phone is over. We were at the phone, things went well, that's why we're now here. Like, it's just one of those things where like I just like I don't overanalyze. I just analyze enough. That's it. Like I don't like to overanalyze. Like I don't like to have like get home, have a board and like walk like talk on walkie talkies and all of that stuff. Like and just like okay, he's like this. Okay, so this plus this plus this. Okay, he's that type of guy. No, like like I'm just like I'm so simple. Like I really am so simple. But for example, Kara, I think it was either Kara or Irina, or maybe the both of you that kind of touched on this point. Well, obviously, it was the where the focus, right? It was like how
Kara.
men focus a lot, right? It
Mhm.
was Kara, yeah. So how men
Yeah.
focus out and women like are more like this, right? Once you become 50% feminine and 50% masculine, it's almost like you become the perfect human. Like even though you're not perfect, it's like you have 50% masculine and 50% feminine. So when you're dealing with an adversity or a problem, you can use 25% masculine and 25% like masculine, or like 50% of both, doesn't matter, right? You focus on what you want, but you're always aware of everything that is happening around you with your senses, right? um to kind of know like if something is going to happen, something is something that. And it's important. It's like if you're too masculine, that like if you're too masculine, you're just not like, well, if you're too masculine, you have no use for certain situations. And if you're too feminine, you have no use for certain situations as well.
Mhm.
You just got to be a bit of both, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that as I have grown and learned from other wise men, because truly, in my situation, I had both of my parents, but my dad's manhood um, talk took 5 minutes. It's like you gotta go to school, work hard, and here's how you wear a condom. Have a good life. That was
Yeah.
pretty
That's
much it.
it.
That was his manhood talk. And
Okay.
thank God along the way I have found a lot of wise men. Not that my dad is not wise. He's a very wise guy, but because of the way he was brought up, his mentality and everything, talking about certain things. I mean, now that we're both adults, now we speak about things at length, and I'm like, that talk I should have had when I was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's neither here or there. Back to the question that Kara had. So please, everybody,
Spreadsheet.
open your spreadsheet. Sheet one, you're gonna put the formula. If X equals Y,
Oh
no
my god, I love this.
reality.
It's like that joke, remember I
Like
posted on
you
Facebook?
totally you totally want us to be like you. Like this is crazy. Like why would you want us to be like you? Like
I,
what's going on in here?
No,
what
but
cracks me up because Bruno's like, I don't like to overanalyze. I was like, bro, I don't like to do it either. I'm just really good at it.
I have a gift for it. You just don't understand that.
I don't like it
No,
either. Yep.
but reality is, let me explain why I started with a spreadsheet, and also why my friend that introduced me to the spreadsheet, we started it. Once upon a time, there was a joke that my friends used to say about me. If the girl that John is dating does not have current pills for her mind in her purse, John does not want her.
Oh, you like them two
That's
campers. All right. All
interesting.
right.
Damn.
All right.
Okay, have you heard that song of I that she punched a hole in the tires and broke the windshield and that country song?
Drove my keys into the side of his pretty
There we
little
go.
four-wheel drive. Yeah. No, I've
Yeah.
never heard that song.
Oh, there we go. Good. It's the universe bringing it down to you.
You wouldn't like it.
I've had several of those, so my insurance is not really happy with me. So my insurance is happy that I got an Excel sheet.
Johnny, where do you pick up all these girls? I swear.
know,
I
right?
swear.
So that was the joke back then. It made me realize that because I have my fun side can get out of control. So I started noticing what are the traits of these women and putting it there. So whenever they went across more than 3 red flags, I stopped dating them.
Nice.
But it was more for my own thing because when I go to John's fun side, you never
Anything is
know.
possible.
That John likes
Yeah.
to leave a mess for other John, huh?
What?
That John likes to leave a mess for other John. You're like, bro, why? Really?
Yeah, bring
Did
me.
he just do that? Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it was really for that we started the Excel sheet because I was too crazy on the fun, and the women that I was attracted saw me with a fun sign in front of me.
Hmm.
And of course, those were a Colombian friend. She used to tell me, "You like all the planes that are in the air, but both engines are failing."
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Now, since then, that has helped me realize what am I doing wrong and what is a healthy. Like I said, I've been lucky that I've met with a lot of men that are really healthy and have healthy relationships, healthy wives, and it has taught me a lot. But that's why I started. Now, I'm just saying for those guys that are or ladies that are having those extreme cases like, oh my God, why the guys that I always date or why the women that I always date happen to be XYZ, and it's like a repetition of what happened the past 5 boyfriends or girlfriends, because at one point or another, you keep saying, oh my God, he or she is my world. By the end of the year, you're gonna have a couple universes if you keep going that way.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
So although it sounds funny, it's real.
Right?
Yeah, like it's just for me. It's just like for me, it's just how do I explain this? Like the first 6 months, it's always those months where like everything is so much more intense, and the flames, they're all this, and then it starts to get boring because people always do the same things, right? And then the magic goes away, right? And then it's like for example, like I've seen a lot of videos where like when you start dating, like you do the same thing, but once when you're dating and once when you're married, right? Like on the first 6 months and 10 years after, it's like completely different. It's like people get sick of each other in ways that like they would never thought they would when they were like kind of like because on the for me the number one reason that people get married is because they're like I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of this person ever, because if they knew they would, then probably they wouldn't get married to that person, right? But it's like it's so many years, so many times, like doing the same thing over and over, seeing themselves over and over and over and over for so many years, so many days, so many months and weeks and all that stuff. It starts to get difficult. And me and Irina, we were talking about that. Like we were talking about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm totally open to do new shit and stuff because I have to, and we have to, and all that stuff." And like, for example, like I'm 21. Like I no, obviously, like I'm not even on that phase yet. I don't want to right now because I'm just like living my best life alone, alone, free from shit, literally free from shit. Like, and like, it's just one of those things where, for example, personal goals in terms of relationship, this is one thing that, for example, me and Irina, we kind of like, we're like 100% similar. And we're not 100% similar on everything, but it's just one of those things where, like, I need my boxes all ticked off. I know, and that's what, but that's the thing. It's like what I'm starting to understand, and it's like it's something that I don't want to understand, but I have to, and I have to accept. Period, and whatever, is it like probably my boxes will never be all ticked because like I'm just expecting so much from other people, and that's so like brutally selfish to those people. And like it's just not only so brutally selfish, it's just like I can't expect it from someone, because even if you're that, your chances of finding the same thing as you are is like fuck, because I know exactly what I am and I know exactly what I deserve. And like by knowing what I deserve and all of that stuff, it's just one of those things where like like I could totally do something meaningless right now, totally. I could totally go out tonight, do something meaningless, but what would I get from it? I would get nothing. I would get absolutely zero, And for example, I had the like, for example, when I was in uni, I had the playboy face. I had the playboy face. I had the playboy face with like, because I went to uni in the UK, right? Yeah, I mean, we all went through that
We have
almost.
to get it out of our system.
Yeah, but like for example,
Sampling, just sampling. That's all.
yeah, it gave me nothing. Like literally, it gave me like nothing because it's just one of those things where like I wouldn't say I'm very emotional. I just say like I like people to stay in my life. I don't like people who come and go like they want to, and I don't like that. And like for example, for me it's just one of those things where again like oh man, I don't like to be with a woman or a girl or whatever, and then like she just leaves and I never see her again. It's just like so like for example, women get attached with sex, men don't. But like at the same time, like it's just like it's just one of those things where like I don't know, like I would like to go to breakfast with you, and I like to see you tomorrow and stuff, and I'm not going to, because you actually look nice and stuff. You actually look like a good person, and like so like am I going to like just repeat everything again that I did? A lot of people do, but I stopped because it's just fuck no.
If you don't mind me adding something to that,
No, totally.
but I think that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. In
Oh yeah,
in if you're not willing to risk it, this is something that actually I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and she's an extreme overthinker, and once she gets to a certain point, she starts getting anxiety attacks. And she liked this guy. So she's like, John, do you want to be my wingman? Because I don't know if I want you to fill it out because you have a good sense of figuring out people real quick. And when we went out, I noticed the guy going around her, bringing drinks for everybody that was near her. Like he was doing everything that a guy that is not sure would
yeah,
do.
yeah. He's being desperate and all that stuff.
No. The guy was very calm and collected, but
Okay.
he was not taking the shot.
Hmm.
He was just not taking the shot.
Okay.
And when I noticed that, I saw his body language and everything, and I saw him. Although he was talking to other people, his eyes kept just looking for her.
Crossing.
But she, as a woman, she's like, but he's talking to other people. He's talking to other women. He's not. She even came up to me on the side and she's like, "Am I invisible? Am I good looking, John?" And that's when I said, "Okay, I'm gonna have to shake you because I'm your friend." So I told her a couple of things that I'm not gonna say live. So I shook her to her core, and I told her, "Now you get your big girl panties, put them up, okay? And
Yeah.
now we're gonna go to the second floor, and we're gonna get a couple of drinks with him." We got him a couple of drinks, and I walked away, and I let them do their talking.
Yeah.
Sure enough, they finally ended up finally talking the whole night. But that's the
Johnny.
thing. We have to take those shots. Back to what you were saying, you say, yeah, I meet this girl and like I don't want to just take her out for breakfast. I don't want to just like men, and I've heard this from many women. And sometimes they tell me like, John, why are you successful with women? Because I tell them
Mm.
exactly what I feel. I'm like, look, I don't see you as a relationship, but I really want to meet you way deeper than your blouse. Go ahead.
Only because I have to leave. So this ties in with the thought that I want to leave you all with. I heard this behavior as not just a man behavior or a female behavior, but as a human behavior. And you can, in a relationship, you can either be a frog kisser or a frog farmer. So if you are a frog kisser, you can take any old frog and turn them into your prince or princess
Yeah.
because you're looking at what you can do to impact. Like, what do I need to say? What do I need to ask? What do I need to share? You're internalizing the change. Frog farmers, whether you're male or female, take that prince or that princess who's so amazing that first few months and keep telling them what they need to do to change their behavior to make this relationship work. So are you a frog kisser or a frog farmer? And with that, my friends, I have to go.
All
Oh
This
my
right.
was
gosh,
incredible. I hope we
good.
do this again next week because there
Awesome.
is
Let's extend it for next week, and hopefully
Next week
Jesse and
we are gonna
Melissa.
continue because it's like so much to dive deep. And Kara always with her wisdoms, with jewels of wisdom. It's
All
just
of
like
you.
beautiful. Yes,
Mm.
Kara. We'll see you next
Awesome.
time.
Yeah,
bye
awesome.
But
guys.
what
Bye
I
bye,
wanted
Kiara.
to add on what Bruno was saying in terms of like ticking the boxes,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can. It's again, it's all. Remember the famous saying? I think Ford said, "Whether you can or cannot, you're right," because it all starts from our belief. If you believe you're not gonna be able to tick all the boxes, that's exactly what's gonna happen to you.
But not only that,
You do, you eventually, attract that person that's gonna tick all the boxes for you. And that's
but here's
exactly
the
when the
thing.
law of attraction comes. That's exactly when manifestation comes to play.
Yes, the manifestation comes, but also at the same time, we have to understand that those boxes, as we age, because it has happened to me,
They change. They
they
also
change.
change. Yes,
They
nothing
change.
is the same. Exactly.
So you got to understand that maybe if a woman does not meet all your boxes, figure out which ones are your non-negotiables, or at least I call them non-negotiables. Once you figure out which ones are your non-negotiables, if she doesn't check one of those, then yeah, let her go. But if she checks the option, she only checks the optional ones.
Yeah,
Why even bother? So
that is so true.
make sure you
Like for
have those
example,
non-negotiables.
like it's like for example, both of you were right. Like I mean, for in my opinion, both of you were right in terms of like the both things you said. And in between also like when like the more you grow up, like because like we're all growing up. I mean, no matter what age we are, we're all growing up, and you stop growing up when you die. And and like and for example, it's just one of those things where your perspective changes, and like the things that you looked on someone when you were 20 is not the same things that you look on someone now that you're 40 or 50, or whatever. And I think like it's what do you believe? Do you believe like it's easier to check all your boxes when you're 20, or do you believe it's easier to check all your boxes when you're 50, for example?
I think you can check out
It's,
any
it
boxes
doesn't
anytime you
matter.
want.
The age doesn't really matter. It all your mindset. What you do believe in. How do you see yourself? Because Bruno, like you just mentioned, like things change, right? It's constant
Yeah.
change because we evolve, we grow, we are changing. There is no such a thing. Whatever you like now, you're gonna like in 10 years. No such a thing because our beliefs are also gonna change with
Or
the
values.
experience that we receive. Yeah, with the experience that we have, with the people that we meet, with the knowledge that we receive, it's gonna just shift and evolve and change. So nothing is whatever, like the list that you're gonna prepare for today, what exactly is important for you, even in 5 years it might not
Maybe
be.
in a week it will change. Look at what happened to me. As you hear me out. I am a firm believer that you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. Period. But because of that mindset, I used to be fantastic at one night stands. because I didn't want to get involved unless the lady really, really meant something for me, and this and that and that and that and that. Da, 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 da. And now I no longer have one night stands, not because I don't want to, it's because I have learned what is the energetical toll it takes on me. So before I have that one night stand or that relationship or that whatever it may be, because hey, we're human, we have physical needs. So guess what? I do get to meet that person 2 to 3 times before, even if I'm gonna have a one night stand.
Mhm. Yeah.
May I
Yeah.
just add? May I
Yeah.
just add? I had a client of mine, like beautiful girl, like very successful in business, and she couldn't like keep up with the relationship. Like, la- uh, guys liked her, and all of a sudden she was projecting because she was like so eager to get married. So as soon as she starts dating, she already saw herself in a white dress, and I told her, "You're missing the whole point of experience. It's like live in present moment. Why do you have to make these projections about the future? Enjoy today, right?" And that exactly was settling her for failures because obviously she got physical very fast because
Mhm.
like when you're in between relationships, it's like something your body craves, right? Let's be
Mhm.
honest.
You're getting
So
overjoyed.
she would get physical right away, and then she gets attached because I think for men and women maybe it's different in sort of ways, but she gets attached, and then she's like already making these projections and expectations. And now as we were working with her and like shifting her mindset, right, reevaluating what exactly didn't work, why she was like having the same pattern again and again and again, because you have to change your habits. And now she's at the point where she is not getting involved into sex right away initially. Like she really has to first figure out if that person deserves her time, attention, and energy before she does that. So Johnny kind of like relates to what you were saying.
Hmm. So let's close it up for today because there's so much, and I would love for everybody to be here on the next one. So that way we can start next time with those check boxes and what to do, because I do want to go deeper on the men's side of things, just because that's the one that I know for a fact. But I also want to learn from you, Irina, from Kara, from Melissa, from Jesse. I want to learn all these things because there's so many life experiences that shapes us to who we are nowadays.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
I just wanted to address to the audience, if you could put in the comments, do you have the check boxes that have to be checked for that specific somebody? Do you believe in that, and do you actually have it? Or maybe for somebody it's going to be like a brain opener, like this is something I never thought of.
Yep.
Because remember, the way we make better decision, more conscious decision, when we actually write something out. The more we connect ourselves with writing, the more brilliant ideas are coming out, and the more clarity we can generate in order to be more successful in relationships. This is like something I wanted to leave you with.
Mhm.
Anything else, John, Bruno?
No, I
No.
can't wait for next episode. That's all I can say.
There you go.
Exactly.
So
So, yeah, let's leave it up to the audience to decide. Like, is it something like if they ever use the checkbox, and if not, if this is a good time, just like to sit down and write everything out
yeah,
and see.
or if you have questions, fill in with question. We will answer on the next topic
Right.
on the next time.
Yep,
Yes. Yeah.
totally.
Prepare with the questions, and we are gonna address them.
All right.
Everybody has a beautiful, beautiful Monday. I think it's a good start. It's like high vibe. It's loads of energy, and let's continue on our next episode. Have a beautiful week, and see you next time.
Absolutely. Well, happy 4th of July to everybody. Bye.